Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit, and it's an hour before the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge, Maddie.
Yeah, I mean, the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge is always exciting. Like, it's always fun to watch. I'm probably not going to watch it live. Like, I'll catch the highlights of it later on. But it's always fun. It's always fun to watch.
It's one of the few things my wife enjoys sports wise, so we will be watching it together because it's like a game show almost.
Yeah, I was watching some replays of Graham Gano, and I can't remember who the other guy was, playing kick-tac-toe, which was fun. Like, where it's knots and crosses for kickers. That was good. I
And
think this year.
it's crazy that Snoop Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl, but he will definitely be a guy that's exciting in the Pro Bowl. And if he plays I don't know who's all playing 7-on-7, but if he plays, that's made for a guy with his athleticism.
Yeah, definitely.
He could be the flag football MVP. People are mad that he's there. He could be the flag football MVP.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to be there at all. But I mean, it's
good for
fun.
him.
That doesn't mean it's not fun to have him there.
And he's going to get some kind of bonus in his check, so good for him. Because you make extra for making the Pro Bowl, plus what the Pro Bowl pays you to be there. A guy who's an undrafted free agent, good. Make your money.
Yeah, definitely.
And he had one of those weird. He had one of those weird, which I don't understand how they can even do this, exclusive franchise or exclusive restricted free agent last year, where you can only sign with the team that you're with no matter what. So you have to take whatever contract they offer you.
Yeah, it's always horrible.
It's weird. I'm sorry, I cut you off though. What were you saying?
I not much really. I was just saying it's horrible that he has to play on that contract because it's the only one that was given to him, and also on top of that, the Pro Bowl is just a weird thing altogether. Like, it's a lot of fun, and I like the Pro Bowl skills games, and I think they're a better way of actually spending the players' time than playing a big game that doesn't matter to anything. Now, basketball, the All-Star game, that game that doesn't mean anything, is still fun for the players, right? Like, basketball, they're basically just playing a game of pickup, like with their mates.
Yeah,
right?
except they play more defense in a pickup basketball game. I quit watching it because the scores are like 130 to 138.
Yeah, but still, like, you're still showing stuff. You can't play football at half speed. It's not right.
I agree, and that's why I'm so happy they got rid of the regular game and brought in flag football.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to watch flag football as well. I'm excited to watch Eli and Peyton coaching. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, because they're such different personalities, but they're both funny, and so they like to make fun of each other. Eli really picks on Peyton, which is always funny. My wife just showed me a meme the other day, and it was just a forehead. And it said, "Isn't it weird that we all know whose forehead that is?" And she goes, "Do you know what forehead that is?" I was like, "Peyton Manning." Like, so it was weird.
Obviously, shared by Eli, I imagine.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, created by Eli. Yeah, and you've got to imagine that Eli and Peyton will probably say some stuff about Tom Brady. I thought Peyton was very funny in the way that he's come out about Tom Brady retiring. Oh, by the way, guys, if you didn't know, Tom Brady's retired from football again on the 1st of February again. But I thought Peyton was really interesting because he came out and said, I wrote the guy a letter. Like, I gave him like this really nice bottle of wine. Like, it was amazing. Like, I was really proud of it and everything. And then he comes out of retirement and I don't get the letter or the bottle of wine back. And it was like, well, yeah. So he just goes like, he's not getting a one this second time. No, not again.
No, that was funny too on Brady's retirement post on Instagram or whatever it was on. He said, "You only get one long
one emotional."
Yeah, and I already did it last year, so
yeah. He's like, you only get one emotional retirement from the league. It was weird that it was just on Twitter, and it was like he was just sat on the beach. It felt very un-Tom Brady. It felt very unplanned. I'm sure it was like planned out fully. The fact that he was retiring on this day. I really like Florio's idea on this. So Florio is saying that because he had a premiere of his new movie, didn't he? Like what? Like what movie is that? He's got a movie.
The
coming
Brady
out.
for 80 or the
Yeah,
80
Brady for 80. That was it. Yeah. And he was the premiere for that was was the day before he retired. And it was like Mike Florio was like, there was definitely people in his ear saying, like, just retire, man, just retire. Like, you can do this kind of thing, you can do all of that. And it was like, I don't think that's quite it, but yeah.
Well, it's funny how much people get into that kind of when did he record it, because I saw a post on Instagram that somebody said that had to be done on the 31st or the day before. They were like, whatever day it was, they were like, because the weather was this.
Yeah.
On that, it's like, okay, Mr. fucking weatherman. Like, and who cares if he recorded it the day before and then uploaded it?
Yeah, it's still the same shit. Like, it doesn't matter. That would make it more Tom Brady if he recorded it the day before.
Right. And it was just weird because I think everybody in the sports world just thought Tom was playing again.
Yeah, I think it was starting to grow a little bit that he'd be retiring. I think my personal perspective on it is that he's come away, he's looked at the offers on the table, and they're not fawning after him as much as he would want them to. And really, there's not any majorly good fits.
Well, from what the news reported is that the 49ers already reached out to him.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Because then they came out and said Jimmy G will not be back.
Yeah.
And according to the report, that was to let Brady know before he retired, like, bro, we're serious. We got two young guys. You can start in front of both of them, that kind of thing.
Yeah, start in front of Brock Purdy for a year. That makes a lot of sense.
And that's what's weird about it is he's from the Bay Area. That was the team he originally wanted to play for. He cheered for them. Like, and you think, oh, if you're going to play one more year with that talent, you're going to come back, win another ring with a third different team.
Yeah.
So to me, Brady must really be done. If that offer's true and he decided to do something else, he must really be done with football.
Yeah, I think you also look at that, though, and think, like, yes, we all decided that the 49ers were a great fit for him recently. But if you actually get into it and look at it, their interior offensive line is a serious problem for them, which is where Brady gets stuffed, like, up the middle. The way that Kyle Shanahan's offense runs is a lot of bootlegs, a lot of, like, not like super mobile quarterbacks, but like some sense of mobility in the quarterback game. And it's like, it's not necessarily the best fit in the entire world for him.
Do you really believe that if Brady was on the 49ers, they're not in the Super Bowl right now?
I don't know. I don't know. I watched like Brock Purdy's fucking arm fell off in the last one, so they definitely have a better chance.
And I truly believe they'd have home field advantage because they wouldn't have went through three quarterbacks at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think it depends like how much of the Buccaneers' performance this year you blame on Tom Brady. And obviously people are going to point at coaching, people are going to point at offensive line injuries.
Well, I was going to say they were on their fourth guard and their third tackle. And
yeah, I mean, the 49ers, we've spoke about it like quite a few times, are an injury-prone organization. Like, it's not like injuries don't always affect the 49ers.
See, that makes it even better because two reasons. One, free agents follow Tom.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get some guards if you need to, and there's actually a few decent ones that'll be out there this year. And two, he'd bring the TB12 method and get rid of that strength and conditioning coach.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Guerrero would come in, pliability, less injuries. You see what I mean?
Tom Brady becomes – maybe that's what he's retiring to do. Maybe he's becoming the health and conditioning coach at the 49ers because fuck me, do they need it.
Yeah.
We got proved right again. We actually haven't spoken about the conference games at all.
Yeah, minus the Brock Purdy injury because that was just freak. But, like, everybody gets injured on that team.
I know it's freak, but, like, there's just so many injuries that – yeah, the Brock Purdy injury was freak.
Yeah, because his alarm just went like this in the middle of the throw.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's, like, preventable, but at the same time, like, also, if Trey Lance wasn't injured, they would have had a backup quarterback to come in. Or the backup quarterback gets injured as well. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I never thought I'd bunch these two guys together, but Florio and Rogers got to stop crying about the emergency third string quarterback. Like, really.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
I know. I don't care if
Doesn't
they
it?
do it or not. Like, you
Yeah.
chose not to put a third quarterback on your roster when they gave you
Mm.
that extra roster spot.
Yep.
That's on you as a team. So now you want them to change the rules so you can add another guy to the roster. He's just a quarterback, which I'm all for making the rosters bigger, but like, quit crying. They had an extra spot. They just choose not to use it for a third quarterback.
Yeah, or they're too injured to find a quarterback that they actually like to put in there. You know,
like at some point, and I'm dead serious, you either have to have that third quarterback if you're that injury prone, or you got to stop being scared and just give Christian McCaffrey the ball under center, because it was brought up that Brock Purdy couldn't throw more than 5 yards and he was still in pain. So if that's the case, just let McCaffrey go all wildcat. You got an extra blocker, and you guys already block good. So now you're 10 on 11 instead of 9 on 11. You know what I mean? Or I mean, you're 11 on 11 instead of 10 on 11.
yeah.
And if McCaffrey can throw a little bit, then you can do certain things to make it look like a run, get a wide receiver more open, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, McCaffrey has that game where he ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown, and threw a touchdown. Like, he can throw-ish.
Yeah, but if he's your emergency quarterback, at some point, if your quarterback can't throw, you just got to let the emergency quarterback go wildcat.
Mhm.
Sure, you run 70, 80% of the time, but you can do little trick plays and screens and different things. You got Debo. If McCaffrey can throw a screen to Debo or Kittle, or you get Ayuk over the middle. You can get these guys wide open because there's a ton of talent. And I never want to be the one to question Kyle Shanahan, because he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. But it's like, everybody knew he couldn't throw, so the defense was pretty simple. Let's just put 10 in the box and go for it.
Yeah, I think I was surprised by how unimaginative Shanahan was in that situation as well, because nobody's expecting you to do anything from that. And I think it's worth complimenting the Eagles on this as well. The Eagles did exactly what they were supposed to do in that situation, and their defense is good at doing exactly what they've got to do.
Hasn't Debo thrown some passes too?
I was just surprised at the lack of imagination. Like,
double
the
reverse
run game,
Debo, throw it down the field, something.
The run game felt stale as well while they were doing it. Like, there's only so many run plays that you can have, but when you're Kyle Shanahan, that's a shit ton of run plays that you've got.
And nobody, like, when Brock Purdy went out, nobody expected them to win, especially after the concussion. So you got back-to-back injuries with your quarterback. But, like, you did nothing to try to, like, surprise the Eagles defense. You just let them line up and tee off on you.
Yeah, it looked like they'd submitted to the loss to me. To me, like, it looked like they'd submitted to losing by the third quarter. Like, it looked like they'd given up, and it was disappointing to see. But yeah, the 49ers are an injury-prone organization. I think we've said it. We've said, I don't know how the 49ers are going to keep it together down the stretch. I don't know whether they're going to be injured down the stretch. I don't know this. And they got injured in that NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and now they got to replace one of the best defensive coordinators in the league.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think, like, that defense is so stacked that you've got to be pretty fucking awful to not be able to do that. Surely DeMarco Murray had somebody behind him helping that you can just step up.
Well, weren't they going all in on Vic Fangio or some shit I read?
I'm not sure whether that would be the move I'd go for.
The thing is yes, they'll still be good, but can you equal what D'Amico did the last couple of years? Because that's the measuring line. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if they fall off a little, does that hurt that offense? Because you got young quarterbacks who are going to be playing, and you need that defense. Mm-hmm. Because let's keep it real. Brock Purdy's played good, but without that defense, like, maybe I'm wrong and somebody can correct me, but I don't remember one game that I watched for the 49ers this year and went, damn, Brock Purdy won him that game.
Yeah, and I mean, against, like, Brock Purdy was really good, and I don't want to take away anything. Like, he's perfect for that system.
And he'll get better.
Yeah, he's going to get better. He's not going to cost a lot of money, so you can keep the band together there. So it makes a lot of sense for him to stay and to keep him there. The only issue with that is when Brock Purdy came, like, how many decent defenses did Brock Purdy actually play? He played the Cowboys and scored 19 points. And then
he didn't even throw a touchdown, did he?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, it's not a shot at Brock Purdy because he did exactly what he was going to ask to do at a very high level. But I don't remember a single game where he was like, oh, Brock won us that game. And you can't have that defense fall off at all if that's the type of football you're going to play.
Yeah, and when you've got like Christian McCaffrey as well to throw to, and you've got Deebo Samuels out of the backfield as well, like, still, you're doing exactly the right thing. You're doing everything that you needed to do. I'm just looking for decent defenses that they played.
I actually think I saw somebody post in one of the groups that they didn't hit a top defense this year or something.
They played the Saints and scored 13 points, but that was in his first game. And then it's the Dolphins where they scored 33. The Dolphins are okay. I think they were going through some injuries at that point. They played the Bucks where they scored 35. The Seahawks, they only scored 21. Was the other one. The Seahawks are a semi-decent.
Yeah, and the Seahawks played bad that game too.
Yeah. The Seahawks are semi-decent. But then they played the Cowboys and only scored 19. So that defense does really need to keep on top for them to be.
And if I remember correctly, there was a 10-point swing off of interception, right?
In the Cowboys game, yeah.
Yeah.
They were all off good field as well. Like the only points that they scored were all good field position. They had one semi-length of the field drive that ended in 3 points. So it's, there's levels to this shit.
I think it just proves our point when we said it before that 2 interceptions cost the Cowboys that game.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's not even to get after Dak, and that is something I want to talk about. But I got a little self-promotion here, and February 10th, I got my next Real Talk show coming up. So here's a preview for everybody.
Well, you know why we're here. So if you have any doubts or reservations, now is the time to say so. No one will think any less of you. Because once you enter this family, there's no getting out.
Hey, what's this fucking thing Soprano? What the fuck it is? You never watched? That's supposed to be up.
These are real FBI recordings of 4 men talking about a mob TV show that they love. These men belong to a real crime family known as the DeCalicante family. In the TV show The Sopranos, Tony Soprano is the head of a fictional mob family. The Sopranos are violent, brutal, and unforgiving. But there was a real New Jersey crime family before The Sopranos.
Yeah, it was cool.
The New York Mafia families have never looked at the DeCalicantes as anything more than a glorified crew.
If you listen to Bruce Springsteen, he'll tell you everything you need to know about New Jersey. New Jersey is the place you want to get out of, and you aspire to come to New York. It's the place next to power. It's the place next to money. It's the place next to celebrity.
If you asked anybody who was in the 5 families in New York, I don't think they'd want to be a member of the Jersey mob. I actually know of some cases where, guys couldn't get made in New York and had to, as a last resort, take Jersey.
Tony Soprano is always thinking about the good old days, when he thought that mafiosi were more Spartan, they were more loyal, they obeyed the oaths of Omerta, of how to conduct themselves as men of honor.
I'll burn in hell.
May I burn in hell?
I betray my friends.
In real life, they know that they're being watched, getting their pictures taken. They gotta watch that their phones aren't tapped. They gotta watch that the club that they hang in it isn't bugged. They gotta be afraid now if the guy they're talking to is turn a wire on them.
They're absolutely paranoid, but you have to be.
There is no way they're as powerful today as they was, say, 30, 40, 20 years ago. Today, they're lucky they can get a reservation at a restaurant, really, literally.
All right, self-promotion over. There we go. Maddie, I got to ask you, what do you think about these reports out of Dallas? So you have Stephen Jones saying that they're interested in extending Dak, and right after he does it, Jerry says, we're committing to drafting a quarterback every year from here on out.
Yeah, both things can be true.
Yeah, but do you think? I think Jerry was sending a message to Dak like, you ain't putting us over the burner this time.
Yeah, I think Jerry. Well, one, I think Jerry needs to calm the fuck down.
This is true.
Yeah, I think Jerry needs to chill out and remember he's an owner, not an 80-year-old man begging for a championship again. Like that. Some of the decisions that are being made, and if you're that desperate for a championship, then why is Mike McCarthy still the head coach? Let's just get that right straight away.
Chris Sims went in on McCarthy for being the play caller coming up too.
He's already overwhelmed. He's already overwhelmed in that job. He already fucks us on multiple occasions. Why is he calling plays? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, I'm all for the fresh face. We'll talk about Kellen Moore in a second, but I'm all for the fresh face of getting a new offensive coordinator in there to work on Dak and be like, hey, man, like, what the fuck was that last season? Like, let's add in some new stuff. Let's do this. Why is Mike McCarthy calling plays? Sorry, that wasn't anything to do with your question. That was just a different vibe there.
To add on to that, since you brought it up, why don't they give maybe a guy like Eric Bieniemy a call who doesn't get to call plays in Kansas City?
Shit too.
But you get Andy Reid's offense.
Yeah, that's true.
Eric Bieniemy's been under Andy Reid since he was in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
You're not asking him to be the head coach. So the only difference is because he's in all those meetings to set up the game plan. So the difference would be the play calling. I have to believe Eric Bieniemy can call plays.
Yeah, definitely. I thought you meant as a head coach. I meant
as your OC, because there's rumors that he's willing to move on if he can call plays.
Yeah, because that's his only route to a coaching job. That's his only route to a head coaching job.
And it all stems, and nobody wants to admit this, but it all stems from all the shit that happened when he was the coach of Colorado.
Yeah, definitely. And that I have full faith in our defense. We've got Dan Quinn. He's on it. Mike McCarthy can leave that alone. It's just like the management of clock and just game planning. He can't even do that when he's not calling plays. And like, people are very rightly giving Mike McCarthy a lot of praise for what's happened with Dallas over the past few years. Like, we've lost to the 49ers both times in two playoff games in a row, and the 49ers, both of those times, are just better than us in like roster and everything.
Maybe he needs to hire an assistant head coach too, because the Vikings, with a new rookie head coach, let Kevin McConnell hire Mike Pettin, not to call any plays, but to let him know what he's seeing on the field, to help him out. Hey, we should probably call a timeout here. Maybe we should let the clock get down to this. Don't forget this. Like, he was there to help him because he had been in that position before. Yeah, so maybe they need to hire an assistant head coach to help him just with the clock management.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm upset that the Cowboys haven't just gone in on Sean Payton, because when I heard about them getting rid of Kellen Moore, I was like, right, okay, it's happening. Here we go. When they got rid of all of those assistants, when they got rid of Kellen Moore, I was like, it's time. Let's do it. Sean Payton, he's on his way. And then Sean Payton goes to the Broncos. Now, I'm not like totally off the idea of Kellen Moore. Like, fine. Like Kellen Moore leaving. I just think now, with Mike McCarthy calling plays, compared to Kellen Moore, we have regressed, like, quite considerably.
Yeah, and speaking of Kellen Moore, he took a dangerous job, because if you don't get it right with Herbert, ain't nobody going to look at you the same again.
Yeah.
If you do get it done, though, it boosts you. I get that, but it's risky. It's risky. Like, what did AB used to always say? BA, Bruce Arians.
You got to risk
it to get the biscuit. Yeah, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. So I guess that's one of those things. Yeah, I just think when Jerry said that you got to get better, or maybe you get better by subtraction, and I'm thinking, really, the reason that McCarthy was out in Green Bay is because he wasted Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you don't get better by subtraction by adding more onto the plate of somebody who's because that's not getting better by subtraction. Like, that's not what's happened there. Like, what has happened is you're piling more work onto a guy who hasn't done a great job of looking like he knows what the fuck he's doing most of the time. So
I think he's scared though, because if he gets fired, he'll probably never get another coaching job.
Mike McCarthy's probably never going to get another coaching job anyway.
If he takes the Cowboys to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl or something like that, then he might. You know what I mean?
It's all right. It looks like Jerry's going to fucking lick his arsehole for the entirety of his time there, so it doesn't really matter.
Toast and salads.
Yeah.
Toast and salad.
Yeah, it just doesn't fucking matter at all. It looks like he's going to bend over Mike McCarthy and lick his arsehole until the end of time, so it doesn't matter if Mike McCarthy gets another job. He's Jason Garrett 2.0. He's better than Jason Garrett. I'm being harsh, but
I think you should stop holding back on the show.
Yeah. Honestly.
So
I'm disappointed.
Cowboys. You guys are all over social media, but it's your own fans who are calling for him to be traded, talking about getting rid of his jersey because he wished Jalen Hurts congratulations, and he told Lane Johnson to go win the Super Bowl for the division.
He's our best player, and he's looking at it from a different point of view. Like, I don't hate the point of view that comes from. Like, obviously, I don't like the Eagles. I don't.
I'm not upset about.
I like the idea of. Yeah, I wouldn't be bothered. Like, if I was them, like it's what you do. Like, it's kind of what you do as well, and if that motivates him, you know. So like the idea of the Super Bowl champion is in your division, or the reason we didn't win is because the Super Bowl champion is in our division. Like, okay, like that's a totally legitimate thing as well. Like, he might be motivated by having the Super Bowl champion in the division. I felt good about the NFC East looking good this year. Like, it's made me feel a lot better about the Cowboys, the fact that the NFC East looked good and we still got 12 wins. Like, it's good to have the Super Bowl in your division.
The only thing I was right about on the NFC East was the Eagles winning the division. That's it.
Yeah. It feels good to have like a good division and to look good. And things like that. I'd rather lose to the Super Bowl winners than anybody else. That's how I look at it.
It's crazy to me too, because what fans fail to realize is the love you have for that team. The only time that player has the same love for that team that you do is probably their rookie year. Then the whole thing hits them that this is a fucking business.
Yeah.
And then you see a guy like Aaron Rodgers maybe on his way out the door. You look through history of guys teams have traded, let walk, cut, like that should. Players realize I'm probably not going to retire with this team, and I love my teammates, but this is a brotherhood of the NFL, so they're looking at it more like that. And I think that fans look at it like, well, we hate the Eagles or we hate the Packers, so you have to. And I don't think. Yes, it's a rivalry. Yes, they get up for it, but I don't think the true hatred that fans have is there with the players. They went to college together, some of them too.
Yeah.
Played, in bowl games together.
Like, I know that Micah Parsons loves the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I know that. Like, you can see it the way that he plays, the way that he got drafted. He said, if it's the Cowboys, I'm gonna lose my shit, you know. That doesn't mean he has to hate the Eagles. Like, I hate the Eagles. Like, that's fine. He doesn't have to hate the Eagles.
Micah will always love the Cowboys, and I'm sure that's a feeling that most guys have, even for any team that drafts them.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know he's going to get paid, right? That's not a question.
Yeah.
But is the love still there when they don't want to give him what he wants in his or in his third contract?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's a business, so it changes, and players look at it completely different. And I think fans got to get over the fact that players so as upset as a fan gets over a loss in the regular season, let's just talk.
Mm-hmm.
Players, by the time they go home, aren't dragged down by the loss like the fans still are for 2 days.
Which you don't want. Like, you don't want that either. Yeah, and the NFL is a bit of a brotherhood. Like, it's not the same as, like, the NBA players, they get on. But these guys, they go to war with each other week in, week out. It's the same. The British people have this with rugby, right? So football, European football. they don't have this same camaraderie. But in rugby, you beat the shit out of each other for 80 minutes, and then you have a pint after the game. Like that's what Micah Parsons has essentially done here. He's gone to war with Lane Johnson. He's tried to rip Jalen Hurts' head off for the best part of 3 hours, and then has said after, "Oh, well done, man. Go win the division." Like, it's just like that kind of brotherhoody shit, you know?
So is this Micah Parsons' second or third year? I can't remember. The one we just finished, second. So him and Jalen weren't in the same draft class.
No, 1 year apart.
I was going to say, because that makes a difference too. Like, these guys spend all kinds of times together at these award dinners and these, you know, like the different, not that they were all seniors, but the Senior Bowl or whatever other bowl they go to at the combine. Like, so people forget that too. These people build relationships before they even get drafted to these rival teams.
And can any Cowboys fan really say that Micah Parsons hasn't given 100% every time he's touched the field for the Cowboys?
Yeah, because I sent you that message that I saw today in one of the room or one of the groups, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I got to send this to Maddie.
It's so stupid. And I'm convinced that a lot of these people that say this about the Cowboys haven't sat down and actually watched the full Cowboys game. I'm convinced. Like, you can't. But Micah Parsons, like, he's got a fucking club on his hand because he's fucked up his arm or something. Like, he sometimes looks like he's barely able to walk and then comes out to play. And while he's playing, looks like he can run 4-4 flat, even though on the sideline it looks like he can't walk. Like, the guy has given his body, his soul, and his mind to the Cowboys since he's got here. So if it was like that when it's like Odell Beckham doing it, and Odell's a bit more like difficult to describe because I also really like Odell, but Odell's like friendly with all the NFL players. Like, Odell loves all the other NFL players and stuff like that. Like, he's a real guy for the NFL, and he's a bit more like airy-fairy. Doesn't look like he's like really getting in the trenches like all the time. Like, I would kind of get what they're saying, but Micah Parsons gives everything he can for the Cowboys every time he touches the field. So I'm not sure any of this criticism is fair whatsoever. Like, I'm sat there and just go, damn, I wish you hadn't have said that. But at the same time, so what if you did? It doesn't really matter.
And who fucking leaked that? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, dickhead. Like, whoever leaked that is an absolute dick. You know? Makes no sense.
It's just, it's what to do about nothing, but it got blown so big that it's actually kind of something, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, also, I think it's a bit of a weird thing for Cowboys fans. Like, I actually dislike the 49ers, I would say, about the same amount as the Eagles. So,
see, I don't like the Eagles either ever since. I can't stand the Eagles since 2017.
Yeah.
I can't. The NFC Championship game, I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
But it still never takes away from me picking them and talking about how good they are. So, you know, and maybe for some reason, Micah Parsons doesn't like the fucking Chiefs more or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe he's sick of seeing the Chiefs win. Like, that could be a good one as well. I don't know. I think there is something to this idea of your division kind of brotherhood where it's like, yes, you hate each other when you're playing, but, you know, like, you have mutual respect for each other a little bit.
Yeah. And like, all these players understand, again, that it's a business and the fans take it way too seriously. So I don't think,
including us.
I don't think Micah Parsons should have clapped back on Twitter like he did.
No, that was dumb.
That was dumb. But if you're upset and you want to say something, we always tell these players, be honest, be real. And when they do, people get mad at them. So
I'm not mad. It's still stupid. Like, so it doesn't mean it's not dumb.
What do you think about Sean Payton going to the Broncos?
I'm devastated. Like,
outside of
I don't know. I don't know if you saw my rant earlier, but I'm clearly still hurting from this game. I think it's a great move by Denver. I think. Oh, sorry, one more thing on this really quickly. I'll make it not about the Cowboys in a second. But I saw some fucker say that I can't remember who it was, and it may have been someone on PFF or something, but it was some guy said that Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy's resumes are basically the same. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, that is not true at all.
So one guy took a Packers team who already had Brett Favre right into Aaron Rodgers. The other guy took a team that their fans wore bags over their heads, just had to deal with Katrina, and had to go out and sign a quarterback that everybody said was washed up because of his arm surgery.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, but he had Drew Brees, And it's like, yeah, Drew Brees had him.
He went and got Drew Brees. Nobody wanted Drew Brees.
Yeah, and he fixed Drew Brees. Like Drew Brees is a great quarterback, but Sean Payton helped Drew Brees. That's what's really important to note there. Also, as his time as offensive coordinator, he was also unbelievable for the Dallas Cowboys. So it's not the same. It's not the same. Just because they both got one Super Bowl does not make things equal. Mike McCarthy should have had 3 by now. Like, that's where it's at. Anyway, sorry, ran over.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. I just I think he's perfect for Denver.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of balls to go into Pat Mahomes' division. But I think that $18 million a year kind of helped.
Yeah, definitely. I think when your owners are rich as fuck, then you're really in a good place. Somebody said something really funny. Who was that? I've been listening to a lot of shit over the past couple of days.
Well, while you think about that, did you see why Arizona jumped out of the Sean Payton sweepstakes?
Because he would remove Kyler Murray's PS5.
No, because he wanted them to upgrade their facilities because they're trash, and they weren't willing to put the money into it.
All right, okay. Well, he's not going to have that problem in Denver.
No. I'm sure he walked around and goes, can we get some cold tubs? Can we get some new hot tubs?
Yeah.
Can we get this if I sign here? Can we get that? And they're like, yeah, Sean, you can have all of that and $18 million. Plus, George Payton's just going to work for you now, and you're pretty much going to be the GM. And he's like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like, somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said that it's a 6-year contract, right? So yes, it takes a lot of balls to go into Pat Mahomes' division, and it takes a lot of balls to try and fix what the fuck happened with Russell Wilson last year. And what happened with Denver. But I'm of the opinion, and I know you're feeling very similar, that Nathaniel Hackett was the problem in Denver, not necessarily Russell Wilson. Like, yes, Russell Wilson played a part, but Nathaniel Hackett was the real issue.
I truly believe no matter what, and I agree with that, but no matter what or who they blame it on, I think that Sean Payton will never ask Russell Wilson to do something he's not comfortable or good at doing.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. But what was being said was, yes, it's ballsy to do all of that, but if they fire you in the first year, then you've got quite a nice payout anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
And you're right back on TV.
Yeah, exactly. And he just walks on to be one of the best Fox analysts that they've got as well. I
think it's a great job. They got receivers, they got a defense, they got a quarterback. I'm not saying they'll win a Super Bowl right away, but he's definitely going to turn that team around drastically from where they were this year.
Yeah, if you actually look at it, what's better on paper, his New Orleans Saints team or this Broncos team, if Russell Wilson is still Russell Wilson?
It's got to be the Broncos because your best receiver hasn't played in 2 years almost in New Orleans. Alvin Kamara is
I mean like his Saints team when they were doing really well as well. That's what I'm.
Oh, you mean like they're like with Drew Brees?
They're like their Super Bowl team, or just like Drew Brees' team.
Probably the Saints, but just to even say probably shows you how good.
Exactly right. Exactly. And Sean Payton hasn't even walked into the building yet. That's where they are with this. I'm not a big fan of the Broncos wide receiver room. I'm just putting that out there just because I don't think anybody's actually proved anything to me yet in that Broncos wide receiver room.
I agree with you, but Sean Payton's going to scheme them open.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I 100% agree.
And Michael Thomas looks like he's on his way out of New Orleans. Does he sign with Sean Payton?
Yeah, that's exciting. That would make that Broncos wide receiver room pretty fucking crazy.
If your number 3 is Cortland Sutton.
Yeah. It's just Jerry Jeudy just hasn't shown me anything since he came into the NFL.
No, but if you put if you get another guy and put him in
Yeah.
the slot, I bet you Peyton can make a lot of stuff happen with his speed and agility in the slot.
Yeah, 100%. And also there's the draft wide receivers always coming out in the draft. Apparently
Yeah.
this is a bit of a lower draft class, but still.
And it's funny because this is a deep tight end class. He likes tight ends.
Yeah.
And he just needs a young running back to go with Latavius Murray.
Yeah, and the defense is unbelievable. The defense is still great. So yeah. I like that
one of those trades that worked out for both teams though, because it didn't hurt the Broncos, but it did help the Dolphins.
Bradley Chubb. I was just about to say, Bradley Chubb. They basically traded Bradley Chubb for Sean Payton, which I think that's a good deal. Personally,
it's one of those weird trades where they give up a first, or they give up a second or a first. I don't remember, but then the Saints give them back a second or a third or whatever it is. So you're almost swapping.
Yeah. The first was also like the 30th in the draft as well.
Okay.
It's not.
So you're just swapping out picks. Like you still get the same amount of picks. You just don't get as high of a pick.
Yeah, definitely, and it's exciting. It's definitely exciting. It also allows the Saints to come into the running to move up in the draft to go get their quarterback. Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks or a lot of teams trying to scramble. Well, see, it's going to be really weird because Brady and Rodgers, I think, were the first
exactly right
to drop. Brady already dropped, so now and Rodgers has
kind of fucked the Raiders.
Right. So if you're not willing to trade and you need a quarterback because you don't want to give up anything for an older quarterback, then you can go out and sign one of these guys, Jimmy G, Derek Carr, whatever, right away. So it's going to be interesting to watch because let's say a couple teams sign Jimmy G and Derek Carr. Does that force Rodgers and the Packers into making a move to before all the chairs are gone in the musical chair realm?
Yeah, I still love Rodgers to the Jets. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, but Rodgers to Vegas. Also, now that Brady's off the table, then maybe Vegas becomes favorite.
Anywhere I can actually cheer for the fucker instead of against him.
Yeah, but I was just about, when I was talking about the in-division stuff, I was just about to say, how do you feel about the Packers, right? Because, you hate them, but also there's, a respect there, right? But it would be nice to not have to hate Aaron Rodgers.
Right. So when Favre went to the Jets, I cheered for him that year. And then he came to the Vikings, and which is weird. So here's the weird thing. I liked him when he went to the Jets. For the first 3 weeks in Minnesota, I hated him.
Right, okay.
Because I 16 years of cheering against him. Then in week 3, he throws that 45-yard dart to the back of the end zone to win the game in San Francisco. And I'm like, I fucking love this guy with no time left on the clock. I fucking love this guy. But he had to win me over, but I liked him as a Jet, which is weird.
Yeah. And the QB carousel, the QB draft is impossible to pick because you don't know where Rodgers is going to land. You don't know where Lamar Jackson is going to be. You don't know Jimmy G, you don't know Derek Carr, you've got all of these guys. And then you've also got the scrambling for Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, as the first pick in the draft.
So I do have a suggestion for one NFL team. If the Ravens use the non-exclusive tag, which it looks like they're probably gonna on Lamar to save that $12 million or whatever, Atlanta, go sign him to a fully guaranteed contract and just hand over the 2 first-round picks, call it a day, and chalk it up. And Atlanta fans who go 2 first-round picks, well, one of those first-round picks you can count as a drafting Lamar, and then so you really only gave up one. You only lose 1 pick per player in that.
Yeah, who are you gonna pick in the first round? That's going to be better than Lamar Jackson.
Maybe Bryce Young, who is keep 200 pounds on, but that's still a gamble.
Yes, but also how far can the Falcons move up in that situation as well? Because it's still going to cost them 2 first-round picks to get up there.
Correct.
And it's looking more like it's going to take 3 first-round picks to get up there. It's going to take shit tons to get up there.
I agree with that. And Lamar's proven, Bryce Young's a prospect. Let's never forget that, because people talk about these quarterbacks coming out of college like they're a sure fucking thing.
Yeah, 100%. But I feel like Bruce Young looks close to one of those things, but
Probably, but
Yeah.
what if he gets smoked because he walks
Exactly.
around at 185?
exactly. Small quarterbacks have come into this league, looked amazing, and then, oh, wow, they're injury prone because they're small. Like, yes, people have told you that that's going to happen. So it's just an interesting, it's interesting. Like, also, I remember somebody saying, like, oh, well, they drafted Desmond Ritter, they gave him the go and stuff like that, so they're probably not going to be looking for a quarterback. Desmond Ritter is not your fucking guy if Lamar Jackson is available. Like, don't give me that shit. Like, Desmond Ritter was a third round draft pick.
Yeah, and I know they call Bryce Young Lil Mahomes,
Mm-hmm.
but that's some big praise and some stuff to step into. And I'm not saying he can't, but that's a lot on a kid's shoulders right into the NFL too. I just think if you're Atlanta and you can go get Lamar, you go from Michael Vick to Matt Ryan to Lamar, you got to be pretty happy as a fan base. And you got now,
They've got
and
a
everybody's
nice,
like, well, you got the compensation from trading Calvin Ridley too.
Yeah, they've got a nice setup there for Lamar Jackson as well. Like Drake
Pitts
London
and
is
Lamar
a massive.
Jackson. Lamar
exactly.
loves tight ends.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kyle Pitts, like we'll actually see what Kyle Pitts can do if Lamar Jackson becomes his QB. And Drake London is a huge body guy, so you get that go ball on Drake London, and he'll just go up and snaffle it as well. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Detroit is still the best place for Lamar Jackson to go, but
And think about this, and this might be too early to say this, but as of right now, I think there could be 10 tight ends that go in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah. Oh, that's something that I wanted to say about Kellen Moore. The only difference between the Cowboys and the Chargers for Kellen Moore in terms of scheme is that the Chargers don't really have any tight ends, but he can go and draft tight ends now. So I think he might be fine.
Yeah. And like I was saying, Atlanta, just go get him. You get tight ends in the draft to go with Lamar. You'll be able to figure out that receiving core. Lamar's used to playing with a subpar receiving core anyway. Build that defense up, give Lamar another tight end, and make sure you have a running game, and you're good to go with Lamar.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of sorts out any offensive line problems that you have, right?
And that is a shit division, so you'll probably win it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's the other thing. Go fucking get it, and you're guaranteed a playoff spot pretty much. Like the quarterback positions right now in the NFC South, Kyle Trask, Sam Darnold, and who are they going to play?
Jameson's contract's up, right? So
Andy Dalton.
It's got to be Taysom Hill as of right now, but I don't think that stays.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, maybe. Yeah, let's see.
And go get Lamar before the Saints do.
Yeah, get Lamar before the Saints do, before the Lions do. Pay whatever it takes if you're Atlanta. It'll be nice to see Atlanta be good. I like Atlanta as a football team, so it'd be nice to see them be good for a while.
Yeah, and those are 2 pretty cool uniforms too. So,
yeah.
Like there's some shitty uniforms in the NFL. Those are 2 pretty cool uniforms. And
yeah, definitely.
The weather, like,
in the dome.
Yeah.
Amazing stadium. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium is so cool.
Yeah, I wish the Cardinals would hire a coach already so we can go hire Brian Flores, because that's what he's waiting on, and it doesn't look like they're going to give him the job. So
I don't think a defensive coach makes sense in the Cardinals, does it? Like, that's the thing.
No, and I think Brian Flores would be the perfect yin to yang to Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, 100%. I think that would really work. Yeah, would be a nice fit for you guys.
Yeah, because Kevin O'Connell's that, you're my guy, I love you, we're going to do this. Brian Flores is the get off your ass, get this right, don't fucking talk back to me, coach, but he'll still put his arm around you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Brian Flores is a great coach. It's a shame that he doesn't have a job right now.
He could have 10 DC jobs, but the fact he doesn't have a head coaching job is crazy. Except I think if it wasn't for D'Amico Ryans, he's probably the Texans head coach. But D'Amico Ryans is a Texan. Yeah,
he's Mr. Texan, Mr. Houston. And also put together the best defense, probably one of the best defenses that has ever been seen. Like you can rank that 49ers. If the 49ers went to the Super Bowl, then they would be put in a bracket conversation with like the 85 Bears and the Orange Crush and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
The
D'Amico
purple
Ryans might
the
be
purple
the
people eaters. Is that what
purple
the
people
Minnesota one
eaters.
was? The
Yeah,
purple
with the purple people
eaters.
eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah. D'Amico Ryans might be the best linebacker that ever played for the Texans too.
Yeah, and linebackers are always the linebackers always make good coaches. I really hope that the Cowboys hire Sean Lee. We have a linebacker coach spot available. I would really like Sean Lee to take that up.
All right, Maddie, we're about 5 minutes till the skills challenge. I didn't even think we'd get an hour out of this. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
No, we're at our best when we can just talk about like
go
how
for
we're
it.
feeling and you let it out.
Yeah, don't need to like zip through games really quickly, you know, like week to week. You don't have to go like this game. Just
And
vibe.
don't worry, later tonight there will be a short on YouTube about Maddie telling Mike McCarthy to lick.
Jerry Jones bending Mike McCarthy over and licking his asshole.
I just got into this whole shorts thing about a week ago.
Awesome.
So,
well, I'm glad that I provided that. Wonderful.
Don't worry, I got some of Sam K going off on MMA Underground too. It's pretty funny. Like, but I figure the funniest ones will get the most views.
Yeah, put it up, man. Put it up. Everybody go like it, share it, whatever. Just put it. British guy sums up Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy's relationship.
Oh,
I'm never going to be able to get a Cowboys ticket if that's seen.
Maybe they'll give you a suite to win you over.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, I'm trying to be Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, maybe Pat McAfee will see it and like maybe it'll go on his show.
Yeah, that's something that actually could happen. Like, Pat's like that. Dude, you have one funny thing and Pat will bring you on as a guest.
Exciting.
Hey, that's how Shinigami got in there. He knocked Detail out with that nasty question mark kick. And
if you don't know, you're going to know.
Yeah, the whole setup to that too was crazy.
Yeah, amazing. So
shout out Rachel. All right, I get to meet him in person in March.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Shout out Rachel.
Yeah, shout out
Shinigami. Shout out Rachel.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One World, One Love. Deuces.
Cheerio.